Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. I have a special message for you. And today I want to remind you that the fact you've been born is enough that you know you're worthy of anything you feel that you deserve. Because, often we find ourselves feeling unworthy of success, unworthy of abundance, unworthy of certain health or certain talents, or we feel that deep inside we want more out of life. And we know that we deserve certain things, but at the same time we feel unworthy of that. And often people are wondering how to feel worthy, how to feel like I truly deserve that, I can have it. So firstly, I want to remind you that so many incredible things are about to occur in your life, and I'm sure that you are in the process right now of transforming your intentions and visions for the future into actions. And of course, all of those changes are causing huge change in your energy field, and it is allowing you to enter into that next phase of your life where you see things more clearly and you're able to recognize the past wounds as open books from which you can learn so much about yourself. Because when it comes to self-worthiness, most often, if we look into our childhood, we can recognize that we've been told certain things, or we've been suppressed, or we've been pushed down because of certain reasons. And back at that time, we had no idea how to deal with it or what to do with those thoughts or ideas that came from external environment. So we took them as truth. We took them as something we start to building our lives on that, like pillars. I'm not worthy, like I'm not talented enough. I will never be able to do those wanting things just because I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, or I'm not good with developing certain skills, or whatever it is. We've been told many different things from our parents, from people which were around us from the 0 to 7th year of age. And most of those things are not real. Those are not true facts. Those are just facts of beliefs of people which were around us. So, my friends, never fall for that. The fact you've been born is enough that you know you're worthy of anything you feel that you deserve. And in order to overcome that and feel worthy, means that we need to start doing things we feel unpleasant sensations about. Because when we feel unworthy about something, we'll feel kinda pushed away from the things we actually want to do. For example, when I was a little kid, when I was young, I was always kinda different. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. We're a big family, but I felt always kinda different. Like I had completely different ideas, different dreams, and I was always dreaming about completely different life than most people around me. So my mother always wanted me to be the same as everybody else, and it caused me some wounds because I thought that there's something wrong with me. I thought that I shouldn't dream that big. I thought that I shouldn't think differently, but still, at the same time, that connection with my soul was always strong. So I had that other voice, like it was always telling to me like they don't know what they're talking about. And it's hard to explain or put it in words, but we have that feeling. We may feel goosebumps, when we're thinking about our dreams, when we're thinking about what we want to create in our lives or who we want to become. So it's so important to find that difference between the voices of society and the voices of our hearts, of our soul, to recognize what is real and what is just the product of society. Because, when I was younger, I've blamed my mother and all people around me which were kind of pulling me down. I blamed them because I thought they are trying to stop me. they're trying to show me that there's something wrong with me. But later in life, I've noticed that we all have certain limited perceptions. Not because we've been born that way, but because we've been trained to think that way. So that's where I've started to recognize that we are not broken. We just need to learn. We need to empty our cups so we can learn with new insights and gain new understandings how wide and how open life is. So that's where I've realized that actually when we have completely different ideas, completely different dreams, or bigger dreams, or something which is maybe not acceptable in the society because most people just don't think that way, it just means that those dreams have chosen you because only you can express it in such a unique way that it can transform the world. So don't think that there's something wrong with you if you feel unworthy of something. To overcome that state of unworthiness means that we just slowly start doing what feels unpleasant. We slowly start walking outside of the box, like imagining living in a box, in a huge box, and slowly we start climbing out of it. And we start facing with all those thoughts. What are you doing? What will happen when you get out of it? You will not be able to survive on the other side. All those thoughts come up because they try to protect us, to stay in the comfort zone, to feel unworthy, so we would not do something stupid or whatever. But as we start climbing out, we start experiencing that sense of liberation, sense of freedom, and suddenly we experience, well, more I'm listening to my heart, more my heart is singing to me. As my heart is singing, I feel like dancing. When I feel like dancing, I feel that great sensation of joy, and I want to express it. And that's why everybody who start doing that, people don't stop just following their hearts. People decide, well, how I feel when I'm following my heart. I would like that everybody would experience that. And that's where we decide, well, I want to share that with somebody. I want to be an example. I want to show. I want to provide something that can help people to get out of their boxes as well. So, my friends, never hesitate to embody who you feel that you want to become. Because this is truly life-changing. You know, sometimes we hesitate because we're afraid. But if we push through and we actually start flowing with the changes and unpleasant sensations, we may recognize that nothing unpleasant is here to hurt us, but to teach us. So there's so much more for all of us on the other side of hardest emotions to overcome. And I like to remind myself to keep flowing through unpleasant sensations until they become so familiar to me that I can actually call them my friends. You know, just imagine if you could call your friends your hardest or most unpleasant sensations you experience. They would not be unpleasant anymore. They would become like something you're used to, something you actually like to experience, because every time we move through something unpleasant, we learn so much, we evolve and we expand so much. And we start behaving differently, and that's what is upgrading our vibration. It's not just intentions and mindset, you know. It's good, that's where we start. But when we start moving forward, taking actions, building new habits out of something which is a bit harder, a bit out of the comfort zone, that's where we start expanding our field. That's where we actually show the universe that we are worthy. Because it's not about thinking I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. It's about actually being an example of how worthy person would behave. And that's what we are doing. We are embodying the person we want to be. And this is a hard path because it's much easier to do nothing and to stay in the comfort. And there's nothing wrong with the comfort. We go into the comfort to relax, to chill, to rejuvenate, to rest, to meditate, right? And then we get outside of the comfort and we transform the world. We start with transforming our world, our internal world, our mind, our emotional system. We learn from our emotions. We don't suppress them anymore. Doesn't matter through what we went in the past. We actually go into that emotional system like a student. Teach me something new today. And we observe and we learn to listen to our bodies. Like often I mention that and I'm repeating that because often we forget it, especially when we fall into the slower emotions and suddenly we just want to escape that. It feels like a prison. But you know, when prisoner becomes an observer, prisoner becomes a student. And when we become students, everything can be a lesson, right? So we start learning from what we feel and we start actually asking our bodies. That's where you can use your body as your teacher. You start asking your body, what do you feel right now? Why this is so unpleasant? Why this emotion is active right now? Where it is active? In which area? Is it causing any damage in certain physical area of your body? And what can you do? Is there anything you could learn from your body and listen to your body? Because that's where we are learning to pay attention to what that great vehicle, which is actually allowing you to experience that physical dimension, has to say. Because you know, so often we're just lost in the mind, overthinking, overanalyzing, and we just forget about everything else. But you know, our bodies never forget the past. When something caused you to be emotionally wounded, you will never forget that. It will stay in your body. But if you don't allow your body to speak to you, it may be hurt. It may be signaling to you that you need to do something about it, but you're ignoring it because you're not listening to it. So always remember that when there's something heavy within you present, listen to your body and find that moment in your life where you just pay attention. Like you pay attention to a conversation, you know, of a certain relationship. You meet your friend or your partner and you just pay attention. You're there for them. Be there for your body as well, and it will be much easier to move through anything you're moving through. So whoever is listening to it, I hope it can remind you to pay attention to your bodies today and see if there's actually a reason you feel unworthy. Because it's not unworthiness that is the problem. It's that ignoring of what we feel that is pushing us back, or pulling us back actually. It's that ignoring of those wounds which may come from our childhood that may cause us to live in a box. Because you know, sometimes people on the outlook look lazy and they don't do much, and if you would observe those people, you would maybe think they're lazy, but they just feel unworthy of what's present in their lives, and it's their coping mechanism. So maybe we can find ourselves in those situations where we would do so much more, but we feel kinda unworthy of doing that. Like, what people will say. How can I talk about it? How can I do that? Who am I? You know? And we rather do nothing. So once we recognize that maybe most of the things we do may come from certain unresolved wounds from the past or traumas from the past, we will pay more attention to the reasons why these sensations are still so strong and what are we ignoring. So my friends, today I'm sharing with you my latest painting, which is called The Veins of Life. And this painting to me is connected with today's message because it is representing that internal and external connection. We have a river, and Native Americans called rivers as veins of Gaia, of Mother Gaia, Earth. And then we have those inner veins. We can find them in our bodies, and we have vibrational veins, energetic veins, through which energy is moving through the cells of our bodies, and I've painted them in the trees. So here is like a waterfall, and it is actually falling into a universe. So it's again connection between internal and external life, and I wanted just to represent that connection between internal and external, to find that balance between one side and another. Because as we're living in a world of duality, we're actually learning to balance one side and another. If we're constantly living just in one side, like just externally, we may not know what's on the other side. And for people who are always living just internally, usually empaths, most of the time live within. For those people, it's much harder to live externally, and everything external may be like a threat, where we may be hurt emotionally or mentally. So slowly we start to stepping or walking onto the other side to experience both sides. And slowly we start balancing them. And that's what I mentioned before, to do something unpleasant. Don't overdo it, but just, practice it. Do a bit of it today, a bit of it tomorrow, baby steps, and slowly we start becoming more familiar with the other side. Because the true purpose of a spiritual awakening is to learn to uplift your ego self and to download more of your spiritual self, to the point or degree where we find a great balance and harmony between one and another. Because ego is nothing else but I am. Ego is self. Ego is that individual self. There's nothing wrong with the ego. But if we're living just in the ego, we may start identifying ourselves with everything external. And that's where we start comparing ourselves with others, because we think that if you have more of those external things, you're better than others. And that's what is causing that perception why ego may be bad. Because people start fighting because of those ideas. But the truth is that ego is just that individual self-consciousness. We need that. We're living in a world of duality. We need that. We need that awareness of the ego self. But we need to balance it with the spiritual self, the higher self. And if you consider yourself as an empath, it's much harder for you to live in the external world, because you are most of the time in that spiritual self, or in that spiritual unity consciousness. And you see how many things are wrong in this world, and most people are lost, and that's why there's so much of heavy energy, and that's why it's so much harder to function in that world. But there's a gift which comes with all of us which are more empathic, because we have so much to download and bring into this lower energy, so much of those higher vibes, greater imagination, and greater connection to bring into that ego self. So we need to learn to balance one side and another, and I can make so much more videos about it, so let me know in the comments below. This one is about self-worth, and I hope you found something valuable here. And my friends, I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting. Let me know what you see in it, and have a beautiful day. I'm sending you all lots of love, blessings, and power. Thanks to all of you for supporting my art in my Etsy shop. I Draw My Passion. You're all truly appreciated. To everyone who needs some daily reminders on my Instagram page, AttractPassion, you can find them. Daily messages for each day, quick message. And to find my art gallery, go and check out my other Instagram page, I Draw My Passion. See you there. Until next time, one love.